It's really great to be back, and I mean that sincerely. It's really nice. You know, I've always had a love for Norwalk because I spent most of my life here. And to see how the town has progressed with all the new construction and site that going on, and the changes that I've been seeing in, you know, the people here at Town Hall and you know, everything that's going on with the projects, it makes me feel good. And I really, I'm really interested in being part of that and making things happen.
In the run-up to last night's vote, there was some criticism that you lacked a vision for the city, or might lack a vision. How would you answer that? I
thought that was just the opposite, that they were changing, that I have a vision of moving the city forward as it has been and making some changes. You know, my philosophy here is handling the people that come in here. We have a lot of residents and contractors come through here, especially for permits. And I want to make this a kinder, gentler place so that when people, I don't want people to think that they're coming in here like they would go to a dentist office. Like, I don't want to malign dentists at all. But they like coming in here and getting things done and doing what they're supposed to do. And we're trying to make it run a lot smoother.
What will that entail, making it, in your words, a kinder, gentler place? Because improvements have been made here. The customer service has been here for quite a few years now, and I believe there are efforts to kind of streamline the how information is kept and processed. What can be done above and beyond?
One of the first things I found when I got here is that there was quite a bit of delay in issuing permits to contractors and residents. And the permit process would take anywhere from, I don't know, a couple of months to up to 6 months. And that, quite frankly, is not acceptable. So I'm trying to streamline that permitting process. In talking to our permit engineers, we have a new position that's been approved as a permit engineer to try to get that. So instead of having a permit process taking, let's say, 2 or 3 months, I want to aim for 2 weeks. And I see no reason why for simpler permits, like a driveway reconstruction or something like that, if all the paperwork is in line, you know, why they couldn't come in here on the same day and leave with a permit, or at worst case, 2 weeks.
Does the city have some latitude in that, or is that governed by state statute? Like
No, it's a city operation.
Okay.
The only thing is that we want to make sure that things are built properly. We have enough time to inspect them. We have enough inspectors to go out and look at it. And it's a very busy time for us, especially now. And going into the fall, it gets even busier because people are trying to get things done before winter. But you know, we're streamlining stuff. We're looking at upgrading the software, so the software reacts quicker to us. I mean, we may look at some portable units that when the inspectors are out in the field inspecting, they can upload their comments to the permit. The permit would come in here to customer service, it would be approved and then sent out.
What is the timeline for having the permit engineer on board?
The personnel is advertising for the open position. Let's say that we keep the thing's got to be out for at least 2 weeks or so. And then we'll interview people that have applied. If it's internally, we'll do that. And if that doesn't work, then external. And I would hope to have her on board by, let's say, the end of September.
You had spoken last week about, you had ideas about reorganizing the department that could potentially save $120,000. Could you elaborate on that?
As you know, we're Brian Sweeney, the principal engineer, is retiring, let's say at the end of September. And I want to look at this overall organizational chart, and of course I just can't change the organizational chart without going through the procedures. For the time being, I've moved Lisa Burns from operations over here to this office. She was over in the operating center, and she is to coordinate with Brian to see how the continuation of the projects. Lisa is an excellent engineer, and she has history of what's going on here in Norwalk and historical facts that she keeps on projects. She'll also be in charge of the water pollution control capital projects also, which she had been anyway. And we'll just see how that part works. So with that change, her being over here, let's see how we can make this thing run smoother. I just don't want to have any hole with Brian Sweeney leaving and all of a sudden we've got a bunch of projects that we don't know where they are.
So his position will not be filled then?
I didn't say that. We
Okay.
would fill that position.
He will, okay. What are your, I guess, the greatest needs now in terms of infrastructure? Your predecessor focused a lot on street paving and monitoring the condition of streets and.
I would say the same thing. I mean, we have a program that we look at the infrastructure of the streets. We have a 5-year street paving program, and we're adhering to that as best we can. You know, as we start developing different things that of needs out there in some of the streets, then we have to address those, and you know, that changes our financial structure a little bit. But things are. I think that's the greatest need at this point is to get these streets back into ship shape. And we've been paving. We've got a lot of streets to do. I mean, you drove over Sunset Hill, but that's on our list to do because of the thing. We're coordinating with the utilities. Mostly Yankee Gas, or now Eversource, and the First District and Second District water companies, telling them these are streets we've got on our schedule. If you're going to do anything in these streets, then you should do that now, so that when we come in to pave, you're out of our way and you're not going to have to go back and dig up our streets again. And so we meet periodically with all of the utilities to go over all of our programs, and they meet with us and give us their program and what they're doing, and we can coordinate that. Like if we're going to go into a street and we're ready to go, say next year or 6 months from now, and they say, well, wait a minute, we're going to put a new main in there. All right, so we'll stop that. That'll be on our list, but we won't do it right away until they get finished.
Would you like to see any changes with the paving program? Could you get more streets done, or each year? Or?
I don't see doing any change at this point. I think the system itself is working out pretty well. Any tweaking that has to be done, you know, I'm going to talk to the senior engineer and the principal engineer about if we need any changes, but right at this point I don't see any.
Do you have a philosophy on bike lanes? It's often a divisive point here in Norwalk between.
Well, it's a tough call. I know that the biking people would like to put biking lanes on all the roads. I wouldn't mind that if one thing, it's not dangerous to them and not dangerous to the car driving public. So that if they can fit on our roads in the places where they're supposed to go, either with actual lanes themselves or sharrows, we'll see where we can accommodate those.
Drainage projects, which ones are in the works now, and when do you expect them to start?
Right now we're handling drainage projects on some of the roads that we have planned to pave. Quite obviously that makes sense to go in there and do the drainage first. We have some drainage projects. I know that up in Norwalk on the Norwalk River, there's a dam that's going to be removed up off Main Street. We have some work that's going to be going on Perry Avenue and the Perry Avenue Bridge. I'm doing this off the top of my head. Right now there's several small projects we have going on. that we have in the works, but we're just going to continue on with those.
How would you describe your relationship with the employees here thus far? Because there were a number of grievances filed under the former director by the union. How would you describe your relationship?
Well, I have, as you can see, I have an open door policy, and I've told the men at the garage and anywhere that if someone would like to come over and talk to me about something that's bothering them, please feel free to do that. I just suggest that they make an appointment with Judy, because I may not be here and there's no sense in having people come over to see me when I'm not here. And I would sit down and talk with anybody that wants to talk to me. Some people have taken advantage of that. I've probably talked to probably a half a dozen individual people, not including the president and vice president of the union. And if we can get, some accommodation, I want to know what their problems are, and I want to see if we can correct them. If I can't correct any of the problem here, if we're talking to them, if there is a problem, I'm not suggesting that there isn't as far as I know, and they don't feel that I did anything, then they can file a grievance. So far as I'm concerned, on my part, we really haven't had any grievances, but I've only been here 2 months, 3 months. But we're seeing if we can get this process through. I mean, some of them wanted to, there was a grievance that was filed actually more to the human relations, the personnel department than mine. They wanted to talk to them, so that's fine. But I haven't really had any hearings here as a step 2 grievance. We haven't had any.
Have you found a place to live here in Norwalk yet?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Have you moved yet?
I'm going to be moving in on the 15th.
Is there anything you'd like to say to residents?
Yeah, the resident.
Street that's not paved, or a poor relationship with City Hall
and my phone will ring off the desk here.
Yeah.
No, several residents have called me on certain things that bother them, and I will always respond to that. I would tell any resident that if they really want to talk to me, the best thing is to talk to me on the phone, because I'll call them, or email. If they come in here and I'm available, they can come in and talk to me about it. I don't have any problem with talking about conditions of streets. I mean, some people are unhappy. Well, my road isn't scheduled to be repaved until, I don't know, 2018. I said, well, that's what the schedule is. I mean, we'll take a look at it and see if we can change it, but it's unlikely that would happen, because we've got to sit to our schedule. This is our schedule, and this is what we're going to try to do.